Bhagavan Shiva tells Parvati this Maha Mantra of Ramanama, Sri Rama Rama Rameti, Me Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tattulyam, Ramanama Varanane. One name of Rama is equal to whole Sahasranama. Let's say Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama. Why Rama has been given such an important place even by Lord Shiva and by everybody else in this world. Somebody say he's a Vishnu Avatara, he's after all Bhagavan. So Bhagavan deserves that kind of praise and that kind of adoration. It is his right. But when that Vishnu or Narayana came as Sri Rama, he behaved and worked just like ordinary human being, so that he can set an example for the rest of the world to follow. That was his logic. Just like any other human being who is subject to all kinds of problems in the world, miseries and sufferings, he also went through his lot of sufferings. And yet he stood out as an ideal example of how one should lead one's life, even in the face of all the adversities and struggles, how one should uphold dharma. That is why Rama Vigrahavana Dharma. And Maryada Purushottama, he always upheld his dignity. He never gave up his dignity by not upholding dharma. He is the very embodiment of dharma. Our Narsimurti ji has spoken at length about various qualities of Sri Rama, which makes him such an adorable, such a praiseworthy and an ideal example for the whole world to follow. Yadyadacharati shreshtaha tattat evetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. As the noble people conduct themselves, the rest of the society follows their example. So Sri Rama sets an example for the rest of the society to follow, which every one of us know about it. The Prana Pratishtha at Sri Rama Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra in Ayodhya of Sri Rama, it's a significant moment in the timeline of Indian civilization. After several thousands of years, suddenly there is so much of enthusiasm and inspiration in the common man, not just in the leaders and religious leaders, but ordinary folks, ordinary men. Lakhs have lined up to have darshan. The very second day, Prana Pratishtha happened, and the moment they opened for darshan, the very second day, 500,000 people in the queue in biting cold of that Ayodhya. It's foggy, there's nothing that you can see. They walked barefoot from their hometowns just to have darshan of Sri Rama. The kind of devotion that it has inspired in the hearts of young and old, that is very inspirational. And I saw so many youngsters actually who have walked a long distance in groups as well as individually to just be there on that day and to be able to avail the darshan of Bhagavan, Sri Rama. While we see Rama as the God, Vishnu incarnate, as Maryada Purushottam, as so-called an icon of Hindu spirituality. But more than anything else, from my point of view, I see him as a national hero who is there for all. What he did for his nation, that is Ayodhya, when he was the king, is something that every national leader is ought to do for his country and countrymen. So more than Rama, my focus is on the Ramarajya part of Rama. Rama has come. When will Ramarajya come is the next question. Because where there is king, there has to be a kingdom. And the kingdom must be ruled according to the principles of the king. And if Sri Rama is there, then Ramarajya has to be there. And as they say, Yatha Raja, Tatha Praja. So if Rama is like this, Maryada Purushottam and Adarsha for everybody, then all the Praja of Rama who consider themselves as devotees of Rama also have to behave accordingly. Now that king is in his throne, all the subjects must also behave correctly. And that is my hope of this Prana Pratishtha, that with this, hopefully, the inspiration to be Adarsha Purushas, Adarsha Stri, Adarsha Bharatiyas would be inspired in the hearts of billion Bharatiyas, who would also try to walk the path that Rama has shown. It's one thing to celebrate a person, but it is another thing to emulate the personality. Rama Pratisthana is the celebration of the person. But emulation of his principles of dharma is the true celebration of Rama's personality. Rama's way, Ramayana, the path of Rama, the way of Rama. And that is what I want to draw everybody's attention to. Some point in time when I was reading through the Valmiki Ramayanam, so many Ramayanas are there. Every of these saints have written it from their point of view. But the most historical and the ancient one, and so to say authentic, is Valmiki Ramayanam. We know that. And you also know that we have borrowed the 4 principles of our Gurukulam from Ramayanam. Sarve Veda Vidaha, Dhiraha, Sarve Jnanopasampannaha, Sarve Samudita Gunaihi, Sarve Lokahite Rataha. These are the 4 principles that Vashishta tells, describing the glory of Rama and his brothers after they finish their education, and he hands them over to Dasharatha. He tells, how are your son? Babuva bhuyo bhutanam swayambhuriva manyate. They are like the Lord Brahma himself. They are divine. They are not humans. Why they are divine? Sarve Veda Vidaha Shuraha. They know all the Vedas, all the Shastras. And Shastra also they know. Shura means they also know the warrior. They are warriors. They also know the knowledge of all the whatever required to do the war. And Sarvaloka Hiterata, they are always engaged in the service of all. Sarve Jnanopasampannaha, they have all wisdom, all knowledge of all kinds of things. Sarve Sumudita Gunaihi, all beautiful virtues emanate from them spontaneously. They are so virtuous. Tesham api mahateja, Ramo Satya Parakramaha. Amongst all the 4, the gold medalist is Sri Rama. He is the one who is the best amongst all the 4, he says. So I borrowed this idea for our Lokaseva Gurukulam, saying our children should also be like this. Veda Vidaha, you should know Vedas, Shastras. Also Dhiraha, means discriminating ones. You should know right from wrong, choose correctly. Then Sarva Jnanopasampannaha, you should learn all kinds of knowledge. In our educational institution, we encourage you to learn so many different forms of knowledge. Then Sarve Samudita Gunahi, good qualities, virtues should be there in you. And all this you should use for Sarvaloka Hiterata, for the sake of the betterment and welfare of all. These are the qualities of Rama and his brothers. And he lived these qualities all throughout. Sarvaloka Hiterata. All through he has served the humanity. Served not just humanity, animals, birds, beasts, whoever came in his way. Sakrudeva Papannaya Tavasmiti Uchyate. Whoever comes and says, O Lord, I belong to you. I surrender to you. I take refuge at your feet. What does Rama say? Abhayam sarva bhuteshu dadami etad vratam mama. I give abhayam to everybody. And Vibhishana comes and falls at Rama's feet, and everybody suspects. After all, he is the brother of Ravana from the enemy side. Why should we give him refuge? Rama gives this word to Vibhishana. Anybody, forget about Ravana's brother. Anybody who comes and says, I have sought refuge at your feet, I shall provide them with abhaya. Fearless protection. This is Rama's nature. He gave protection to everybody. At even his cost of his own life, he is ready to protect his people. That is the idealness of a king, who is father, who is mother to his praja. So that is national hero of that Rama is. And what does Rama do? Rama does dharma all the time. And in his pursuit of dharma, in his upholding of dharma, he has sacrificed so much of his individual life and comforts. Somebody had come from some US. They were arguing with me, saying that, how is Rama ideal after all? No, he left his wife when she was pregnant in the forest, and in the middle of the night he threw her out of the kingdom for no fault of hers and things like that. Then I told him, it is the same wife for whose sake he walked thousands of miles, built a bridge on the ocean, and with just monkeys and animals and birds and beasts, he fought a war against such a mighty kingdom of Ravana. Ravana is, enticing Sita, Mother Sita, after abducting. He says, I have 33 crore Rakshasas here at your service. That huge was Ravana's army and people. But Sri Rama fought with each one of them. And he won the war on the basis of dharma. He had nothing. He didn't even have a chariot. He didn't have weaponry. He didn't have a huge army or, elephants or horses. Nothing. Sticks and stones and a bunch of monkeys. But they all fought the war. And they won the war and brought Mother Sita. And people say he was so cruel to his wife. No, he wasn't. In fact, when he calls Mother Sita, in front of everybody, all the monkeys and vanaras and everybody, when they are all leaving because, they shouldn't see the face of another man's wife, especially Mother Sita, how can they stand in her presence? He tells them, stay back and witness. And then he questions Mother Sita. I give you the freedom to go wherever you want. You don't have to necessarily come to me because people will, Lokapavada will be there, people will ask questions. And of course, that's just a drama that Rama plays so that everybody hears that he did question Mother Sita and he did find an answer to the question. In a way, he was questioning Mother Sita's chastity on behalf of all those who are present so that once for all it is settled that she is pure. And when Mother Sita asks Lakshmana to create a pyre and jumps into it, it's Lord Agni who brings out Mother Sita pure and tells she is absolutely pure. Do not doubt about her purity. Take her back with you. I command you, says Lord Agni. And Sri Rama happily accepts her. It is just for the sake of proving to everybody that she is pure that he puts her through this. And she understands that. Otherwise, why would she come? So Rama takes her back with her with all honors. They come back in Pushpak Vimana. They rule the kingdom. People are joyful. They are celebrating. And Rama being a king, again national hero, a national ideal, a real king, he keeps an eye on or keeps his ears to the ground to know what's going on in his kingdom. And then he hears there are rumors. His spies come and tell him that there are rumors that people are questioning about Mother Sita. And then Rama says to Lakshmana, see, we have to look after the kingdom and what people say. So do not argue with me. I shall give you a command. You must follow it. Mother Sita has been desiring to go to the Rishi's ashrams because she is pregnant and she wants to spend time in spiritual ambience. She has asked me to take her to various Rishi's ashrams by Ganges. You tell her that I am sending her to a Rishi's ashram and make sure that you drop her near Valmiki's ashram on that side of the river, Ganga. He doesn't throw her out of the house, get out of the house, I don't want to see your face. All these dramatization and false narrative creates that confusion in people's mind. But he tells Lakshmana, you drop her next morning on the side of river where Valmiki's ashram is there because he very much knew that Valmiki alone will look after her and his children will grow up in Valmiki's care. So that is how he puts her there. It is not as cruel as it sounds. And what does Mother Sita say? She tells Lakshmana, when Lakshmana reveals to her the next morning that, Rama had to send you here because people are questioning all kinds of things. And first, of course, as anybody would react, she is sad, saying that, why should I have to go through this? Looks like all the misery is my lot in this world. I was separated from Rama, somehow I got united. Again, I am being separated for some reason. But then she concludes by saying that, no, Rama has to keep up his name. He is the king and he has a greater responsibility to look after the kingdom. So tell him it is all right. She accepts that because she is also a queen. She also has to do the dharma of a queen, which is to make sure that the praja is in harmony and peace. Now people will say, oh, for somebody says something, do these kind of things, should we sacrifice things for the sake of somebody's loose mouth? People ask these questions. Now you have to see the place, time and context of Ramarajya. It's not the same as today. Today people talk. There nobody used to talk. Ramarajya's Varnan or description in Ramayana Valmiki is, he used to say, Asan praja dharma para rame shasati nanrutaha sarve lakshana sampannaha sarve dharma parayanaha. Nobody was telling lies in Rama's kingdom. Everybody was following dharma. All were virtuous people and all people were endowed with good qualities, good ideals. So there was a very good kingdom where nobody was deviating. At that point in time, if a rumor starts, you know how dangerous rumors can be. But Rama's kingdom is so huge. And how do you go and convince everybody? So he says, for now, to keep harmony and peace in the kingdom, I might have to sacrifice my own happiness, which is to let go of Mother Sita for the sake of peace and harmony in the kingdom. And for that sake, he does that. So always remember, the dharma of Raja is greater than dharma of a pati. When you become a king of a kingdom, your responsibility is towards every single person of the kingdom. Your responsibility is not just towards your wife and kids. That takes a back seat. That's lower dharma. Tyajet ekam kulasyarthe, gramasyarthe, Kulam tyajed, gramam janapadasya arte, atma arte prithvim tyajed. There is a hierarchy of sacrifice. One can be sacrificed for the sake of the members of the family. Whole family can be sacrificed for community. Whole community can be sacrificed for the nation or the world. And whole world can be sacrificed for atma-arte, for self-realization. I put it that way. Or for the greater good. So this is how Rama chose. And everybody sees the pain and agony of Mother Sita because she is a woman, helpless, and all by herself. But nobody sees the pain and agony of Rama. Now, for the woman, for the wife whose sake he fought so much, he never married again. That time kings were marrying how many other times? Dasharatha himself had 3 wives. Rama never married again. He performed so many Ashwamedha yagas with a golden Sita by his side. Never married again for the sake of performing rituals. He stayed that way. And this person who came from America, very, very biased in his thinking, the typical modern, how could you do this, how could you do that, and things like that. And I tried to explain to him that, see, you have to think of a greater good of all, greater dharma over the lesser dharma. That is how life has to be. Many times I'd like to do so many things, but I cannot do it because there is a greater dharma at play. Sometimes I have to sacrifice somebody because of some reason, because the greater good of all. So these decisions, when you are ruling, you have to take the right decisions. And always the right decision is, for the sake of greater good of many, a few can be sacrificed. So that is the basic logic. Rama sacrificed the greatest wealth in his life, greatest joy of his life, which is his own wife and his kids. And anyway, finally, after many years, when it's found out that Mother Sita is in Valmiki's ashram, he calls for her back. But then Mother Sita decides. Rama doesn't tell her. Mother Sita decides that she wants to leave now, her job is over. You remember that she is also Lakshmi. And she leaves soon after. Rama also leaves, Lakshmana leaves, everybody leaves the earthly plane and they go back to Vaikuntha, is how the Ramayana concludes. The Uttara Ramayana concludes. The idea is that whatever Rama did, he did for the sake of the greater good of all. See, this is one thing, if we get it in our lives from Rama's life, that we shall do everything for the greater good of all. Sarva loka hite rataha. If we get that one ideal, it will be all right. So people are divided on their opinions about, should there have been a temple there, should it not have been there, should Rama be so much eulogized and, praised, and at the cost of some people not liking it. I tell them, don't look at Rama as a religious icon. Look at him as a hero, national hero. And national hero everybody worships, those who fought for India's freedom. Does it matter which religion they belong to? They all fought for the freedom of the country. Until today we like them, we worship them, we celebrate them. Similarly, Rama fought for the greater good of all, for upholding dharma. He set an example. Whenever somebody does an example, people worship him. Anybody who does good to the world and sets a great example for all becomes a hero. We put their pictures on our walls. So many national heroes we worship today, isn't it? So think of Rama from that point of view. And then you will suddenly find all the answers to your questions. You won't have any debate and discussions left. Narrow-minded people may raise all kinds of ideological questions, but that's because of their lack of understanding and comprehension. We can't change that. But from our point of view, we should see him as somebody who set such great ideals and examples for the whole world to follow. That's why he's not just for India, he's an example for all. Today, if we talk about Martin Luther King, or we talk about Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela, or great people who have done, Abraham Lincoln, who have done great good to the world, don't we all respect them? We do. Have they not put a statue of Abraham Lincoln for whatever he did? They did. So the idea is that think of Rama not just as a religious god, but think of him as a national hero who did so much good to the world, and even today his ideals and examples are inspiring people to walk on this right path, which is Ramayana. Until today people talk about how he took decisions, how he did things, and derive inspiration, derive example from his conduct, and try to apply it in their own lives. How many people's lives have become better because of him? So beyond everything else, Sri Rama stands as an icon of national heroism, in fact a global heroism, a universal hero for everybody to emulate him. And that is why Shiva says, one Rama's example is enough. Don't have to read thousands of other examples. In his one life, he has taught you how to be a good brother, good son, good friend, even good enemy, as he said. Kindness for your enemies also, without any malice. a husband, a king, a father, everything that you can think of. So that is the personality of Rama. That is why I am very particular, more than the person, look at the personality, which is the collection of all his virtues and values. That is what we must follow. Persons will come and go. Personality and what they taught the world will remain with us. Think of Ramayana as a way of life, not just a religious text, which needs to be read and because we need to be aware of what it is. Think of it as a guidebook for all people to follow. And think of Sri Rama's installation as the installation and worship of idealism, of dharma, of heroism, which can be followed by anybody and everybody in the world. That is the idea, even if you look at it from human point of view. If you think of him as Bhagwan and Atmarama and all that, then it goes to another level. But even from a normal point of view, look at him as somebody whom you can emulate. That kind of idealism Rama represents. And I was very happy to be there. It was a great occasion. Thousands of people, who's who of the country, and many people from around the world are also were there. Of course, on 22nd there was limited seating, and limited people were allowed because you could not have kept everybody in the premises. But the next day when they opened, there was a sea of humanity over there. Everybody standing for hours. The queue was 2.5, 3 kilometers long. That's the very first day of opening. So I just thought of it, how people would have been feeling when Sri Rama was physically, there. What kind of joy that people of Ayodhya must be having, how they must be celebrating Sri Rama's arrival. Just by looking at the crowd, you get after thousands of years, still to see the temple of Rama, people are standing in queue in the cold. Think of the times, and that Ramarajya is what we want to bring, where sarve lakshana sampanna, sarve dharma parayana, all follow dharma, all are full of virtues, nobody harms anybody, nobody hurts anybody. It's so beautiful that Ramarajya description is there in Valmiki Ramayana. You must read. It says, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, sarve lobha vivarjitaha. Nobody was greedy, whatever with their professions. Swakarmasu pravartante tushtaha svaireva karmabhihi. They were happy doing their professions. A doctor was happily being a doctor, not for greed, not for making money. A teacher was being a good teacher, not for earning income. A singer was a good singer, a sweeper was a good sweeper. So also kings and ministers and soldiers and farmers. Everybody did their job happily. Because they were happy, they were not greedy. They did for the sake of Sarvaloka Hiterata, for the welfare of all. That is the beauty of Ramarajya. And I truly hope that with this, Ramarajya also will follow, because that is the true celebration of being the descendants of a dynasty of Rama, being the followers and devotees of Rama. It's our greatest responsibility to bring that Ramarajya, which is, as he said, is Prema Rajya, where everybody loves each other. Once you love each other, you don't harm each other to begin with. In fact, you only help each other. And that is the kind of Ramarajya. And it wouldn't be wrong to say that a sample of that Ramarajya is very much here in Satya Sai Grama, where people love each other, serve each other, they do not harm and hurt each other. They're always thinking of the welfare of all. Children are studying happily, people are working happily. There is no greed at all. Everybody is serving each other with complete dedication and devotion, and all together are only serving God. This is actually the model. And if this spreads to the whole country and the world, you can imagine how beautiful that situation would be. And I'm hoping that some of you, as the hope of the future, you people will take this idea forward and do more in your life, so that you truly bring Ramarajya, Prema Rajya on this earth, and where everybody is that dream of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkham Apnuyad. That prayer will be realized in your lifetime. That is my hope and prayer. And once again, congratulating everybody that we are a witness to such a historical event. For centuries, people struggled, they did not get to see this. Whether you saw it virtually or physically, at least you got to see a moment like this. Now the responsibility is ours. Those who had to do what they had to do, they have done. Now the responsibility of the next generation to take forward the message of Rama, the work of Rama, and serve all humanity with the heart of Rama. How Rama would think and feel and do, think, feel and do like that, that is the beginning of Ramarajya.